Everybody, I'll give you your fancy opening and then give me 1 second. We'll start. I'm super late. I apologize. I had an issue I had to deal with. Hey guys, let me just try to pop this in. We should be good to go. Sorry guys, let me shut that door. So today was absolutely wild. I apologize. I really am trying to start these at 8:15. I know I've been saying that for months, but we're trying. I'm trying my butt off, guys. It's super hard some days. So let's just start here because I think this is super important. Overnight, Besant really kind of tried to wind things down. China ramped them up, which is very different than what's been going on in the past. And I think that that's really what you're seeing here. It's definitely an issue. Well, that's what we got. We'll just deal with this. So it's definitely an issue. And I don't think that that's going to stop until China's done their meeting. I think it's called the plenum or something like that. I'm far from an expert in politics, but it seems like there's some real infighting going on there. So does this turn into, a real issue? Like what kind of issue does this turn into? I don't know, man. Like I don't have a clue like what kind of issue this turns into, but it's definitely turning into an issue, like a much broader issue than people think it is. So for me, looking at this, I just want to put myself in a position to win. And to me, that means staying the heck out of the way. Hit your singles, go from there. Understand certain sectors are going to absolutely rip, and then all of a sudden they're going to crater. And I think that that's really the way that you have to look at it. What I would do is I would base everything off one chart and then go from there, right? I would base everything off of one chart. I don't know what just happened. What just happened? There it is. Yay. Man, they have been so weird lately, haven't they? This trading view. But this is how I would map everything out. This is how I would look at things. I would focus heavily on, and to me, just these fib levels, because it's everything. Now you're under the VWAP from Friday, and that's a big change, right? So here's Friday, and there's Friday's VWAP, and that's how I would look at things right now. And I did go through a couple other things yesterday, but if you look at how you're respecting these fib levels, you're really respecting them like a lot. And you can see that pretty clearly, right? Just use them as guides. Even if you're not trading futures, just use them as guides. I don't think there's anything any clearer here that you're running into kinds of issues out there. And you had great earnings, like great earnings. So it's definitely an issue for me, hands down. And I really can't stress it enough. But if I look at something like this here, like watch, like look at that level, look what happens when it breaks. And again, I don't have the one in. I can put the one in so that you guys can see it in all its glory, and maybe that'll make you happy. Right? All right. So I would watch these like a hawk. You're trying to break that 50. You can't. You're getting a sloping down VWAP from that level. You're hitting these levels and they're rejecting it. That's what's happening. And until that changes, I don't see there's a sense in changing anything. I'll tell you what I've done. And then you guys, well, let's look at this from the perspective of the Qs too, for you guys, you crazy kids that trade the Qs. Let's see if these levels are still valid. And I think that this one is, but let me just check. So you have the most up-to-date stuff. Call wall 610. So they walked that down to 610. I got a lot of emails of people trying to get in the community. I will get a batch out. Just remember, I give everyone the opportunity. You're not forced to speak to me. 600 is becoming a demarcation line. So that's interesting. So this changed. 600 is becoming a level. So that's not really what you want. You're actually seeing more pressure now in the market. So what happened, I'm not going to get all into it, but from here over, now 600, you now have a gamma level. So that means below this, you actually have, pardon me, your negative gamma now below that. Gamma. That was the hawk. Gamma. All right. So that's not good. I mean, I'm happy because I've got puts, but I have a lot of puts. The puts yesterday were so cheap, it was ridiculous. I would say that that's what's so fascinating about this. The amount of call buying was at extreme levels the other day. It actually was like at an all-time high call buying. It was absolutely crazy. Do I have that somewhere that I could show you really quickly? I couldn't get over when I saw it. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. 2, 3. Yeah, there it is. 1, 2, 3. What do you see this? Like everyone was just like, oh no, it's a dip. We should buy the dip. Like this is how crazy it was. Watch. But wait, there's more. Call volumes reached new record, higher highs. Over 60 million calls changed hands. U.S. call options. So what everybody do? They bought calls because what's the market do? Oh, it always goes up. Okay. I couldn't really just drop that in here so that people get that, but it's just absolutely crazy. Just absolutely insane. So it is what it is. Anyway, that's really what I see out there. Let me just go through this. And what else do I want to do here? I should do this with the SPY and then the NQ. And then I'm just going to do lightning round of questions because I'm super late. But I would be trading the rare earth names. Oh, I do want to walk you through. Like, you need to look at UVIX, I think. And I think you need to look at SVIX. You should do what you're comfortable with, but that's what I would focus on. ASML's earnings are tonight. That'll be something. That'll definitely be something. Yeah, let's do it that way. I'm trying to think of, yeah, I think that's the better way to do it. And let's see where you're at here. Let's see if that level's still the same or if they move that level. They walk that down too. That's not good either. So they're walking you down. You're back down to here. So yeah, they think you're going lower. I mean, that's pretty clear. And this came all the way down. So now you're up here. Now you're right here. If you could change, that'd be fantastic. Okay, well, can we change the border? Okay. So I'll just save that right there. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely something. Give me 1 second. 670. Yeah, I mean, you got issues here, big time. I'm going to map this out for you so that you can see this, but you have issues. Let's just click on this one because this one seems to like me more for whatever reason. We're going to clone that and we're going to move you to that 670 level right here. So what you want to really do, like people always say like, okay, well, why do you care about like the gamma level and stuff like that? I mean, I'm not going to get all into this, but I'll get into some of it. I think that if you go out there and have a net bias, when you're in these levels, then if you keep your net bias to wherever gamma is, like your positive gamma or negative gamma, like on what side of it, your life gets a lot easier. Your trades get a lot easier. You'd be surprised. But you have to remember something too. Like I'm index sector stock. So that's really how I look at things. So let me just drop that in there and then I'm good to go. And then that will be it. Let me just say, let's go through some of these names. Wells Fargo. This was really, really good report for those that are going to ask about it. Wells Fargo was really good. Really good. In some of these other cases, we start going through them. Goldman, not so good. So you're going to have some of these names that are just they're not going to do that great. And I'd be super careful today because people are going to rush into this stuff and we just want to watch how it opens. Like I don't think sudden movements is the way to go here. I think like very defined movements, make what you make, move on, and kind of go from there. I think that that's really the rub for me. So I think that's really the rub for me. I don't know that you want to chase any of this stuff that's having issues like this on calls right now. I know I'm going to get questions on these, so I think it's worth throwing that out there. I see it. What I would do with something like this is just look and go, okay, well, I'm at that 55, level. If we go and take a look at this, because I know I'm going to get asked on these, and you start looking at these kinds of names like, I don't know that you're going to break that 755 level. Like I don't know that that's really going to, that's really going to break. You have some support down here at that level, like right in here, but I don't know, man. You never know with these names. They're not easy traders, that's for sure. So I'd watch that like a hawk. I would really watch that, and kind of go from there. And that would definitely be where my head is. I don't know that you'd have to look at that and get involved right away. I think that this is a very interesting area to look at, but I don't know that you have to get involved in this. I actually think the area, the one that makes the more sense to me, is understanding that Wells Fargo is good. But let's go through these and let's take a bunch of questions. What else? What are you guys going to ask about? You're going to ask about NVA. Did we lose the camera already? Okay. All right. No more bonding. So in regards to NVA, yeah, I mean, obviously this is just exploding up. You know, the other day you were at 22, you were at 13. You know, they make minerals. The government wants to invest in minerals because China, we either do what China wants, so they're going to, quote, rain hellfire on us. So, you know, when you start to see this kind of stuff and you start looking at it, I mean, there's trades there. I did a really nice trade in it this morning, buying off of like this little pattern in here. But as soon as it popped over, it just worked out perfectly. But you just don't want to be here, for you guys that are asking about these names, until you see like some stability. And I don't think the rhetoric's going to stop anytime soon, personally. But that doesn't mean that I need to be, you know, full port in these. I need to buy them when they break down. I need to honor the stops. If like they don't turn where I think they're going to turn, you want to be super careful with this kind of stuff, because you just don't know. And I don't know why this is the one the government wants to put money into. I don't have a clue. I don't think the government should be buying companies. That's just my opinion. Very easy to just give these companies grants and tell them that they can't deal with China. I don't think we need to socialize an entire industry, but you know, what do I know? So when I look at something like this, or any of these names, to think that this is just going to go on forever is just silly. It's going to end. It's going to end really, really, really badly. It always does. So I just think they're all hot potatoes. One's not better than the other. There'll just be varying levels to it. And they're even going to end on that. Usually when they're over, just so you can kind of think about it this way, they're usually over when you're getting good news. Like you're getting great news and then the stock doesn't move. So like, here's a good example. So CRM, right? They did an open AI deal because that's like the new, you know, thing to do. All the cool kids are doing it. We're going to announce an open AI deal too, right? And so they announced this and they try to get the stock to move. And then all of a sudden the stock moves like 1% and then might finish down on the day. And that's all of a sudden the time where it doesn't matter anymore that you're doing a deal with OpenAI. Like OpenAI, we're doing a deal with OpenAI. All right, that was good for what, a minute? I got you a minute of excitement on your stock. Like, who cares? Like, that's literally what it got you yesterday. And when you start to see that, that's very different than what was happening here, right? So when you start seeing the law of diminishing returns on these announcements, that's telling you that that's starting to get played out, right? It's telling you that it's starting to get played out. So that's really how I would look at that and how I would focus on it, on any of those kinds of names. So I'm sure I'll be asked about that as well. Let's get to it. What's up, John? Yeah, the thing about Argentina that's super interesting to me is the election. So I actually think he's going to get himself into a stalemate where he becomes a lame duck. That's where I think that's going. I don't know that he's going to get anything more than that out of it. That's where my head is with it. Whether I'm right or not, I don't know. I truly don't know if I'm right there or if I'm not. But my gut is that he's going to get himself into a, into a stalemate there, and they're not going to be able to do anything. And the time that reminds me of this, John, this is it. So this is pretty much what happened in 2011. You can't see it here. I have to go to, I think it was like IWR or something. Is that it? I'll find it. It doesn't matter. But if you go back and look at and I don't have the time. If you go back and look at the stock market in 2011 to 2013, you will see that when they put this new person in power, which is crazy because that person that was actually president in 2011 was the previous vice president. It's the same three families that have been running Argentina for like 100 years. It's nuts. But if you look at it, what's transpiring here is that they're going to stalemate him. Like he's not going to get anything done, and they're just going to take control of the country again. You can already see it kind of mapping out. So I personally think any rally into this kind of stuff into the election is probably where you want to start looking at putting the shorts on again, because once that's done, unless there's a surprise in the election, but I don't think there's going to be. MPWR AGX. What's up, Jacob? Yeah, I would just make sure that you get over everything here now, man. I would just make sure that you are emphatically over everything. And if you can, cool. If you can't, you can't. But I would just make sure of that. I really think you need to be super careful here, because we went from like, this is where my head is, and this is why I'm trying to say it the right way. This was not a great pattern. Like, I'm going to clean all that off. This was not a great pattern, like for the market. And this inside bar was not a great pattern. So, and I really think that this is going to be like, this is way more of a problem than people think it is. So I'm really having a tough time saying like, yeah, you got to get involved here. Like, so here's where you're at. And this is where we're at in the market. The whole market and the whole world is going to start coming in on China, which is going to slow China's growth. Like this latest move, they're going to really either backtrack on, or they're going to dig their heels in. And if they dig their heels in, they're going to start losing access to a lot of markets, including Europe. But when I look at like the SPX, I really think that this is where you're heading to. Like if I had to, tell you like, hey, how bad do I think this could get? You break that, it's on. Like it's on. So you start looking at the ES and the ES starts breaking, it's on. There's levels here that if you start really cracking, you have a real problem. And I don't know that you're going to crack this or not, but there's levels out there. So the idea that I'm going to buy something at the top of a chart, you better break out, man. Like you better really break out, because all I see you doing is trapping shorts here. And what I was trying to explain in Monday's video was, yeah, you ran up, but where did you go? Like, where did you really go? You didn't go anywhere. Like, did we really like you open? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're long and you're staring at 900, you're like, oh, my life sucks. And then you come in and you're like, I knew I was smart, right? So like, then you're all happy. Like, that's not a bad day. But like, from the standpoint of now, I have to put the trade on. Now you're looking at it and going, all right, well, would you make $20 on a $1,000 stock? Okay. All you really did was squeeze shorts, and it wasn't even convincing. That's kind of where my head is with it. But I think you have to look at all this stuff with a grain of salt. Give me 1 second here. I should probably do this so that I have done something with this thing, because I haven't done anything with it. Come on, little British guy, film me. Come on. Yay. All right. So let's see what happens here. I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it, Jacob. GEV, any of these names? Yeah, I mean, they could definitely go again. This is actually really what you want with something like this. This is actually a really good idea, because you rallied up and now you're back down and now you're right near this level. So this makes a ton of sense to me from a data center perspective, because the thing about data centers and keeping them together and keeping them online, like this is really what you're looking for, because you had great volume, you broke out, and now the market's going to take you lower. And if you close today below that low, then you're wrong, man. Like, you're like, oh, I got to get out of this. And what's that? 613, and you're at 631. And if you nailed it, you bought it above the 55. See, I think the rhetoric dies down. I just don't think the rhetoric is going to die down before the end of the week. And I don't know what that does to the market. But yeah, that's definitely, this is interesting. I'm making a note, John. That's interesting. I'd rather tell you I'm making a note. Bros with tariffs, it kind of scares me. AGX, energy infrastructure. Like this kind of stuff makes sense. Infrastructure plays because people all over the world are going to start going, you're going to get away from globalism. I mean, you can start seeing it coming. Hopefully you guys can see it coming. I've been saying that I think someone in the EU actually leaves, like a big name actually leaves. Not like the UK, but somebody like really tied to them, like, in Italy or something like that. I actually think they run into issues here. So, you don't need them from a defense standpoint. You have NATO. But I do. I think that people are looking at this like we're sick of being tied together. And there's like this one big unified front trying to deal with China. It's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. There's going to be a real problem. I don't know. I'm not a geopolitical person, but when I look at something like this, I think the build out of energy infrastructure is going to be freaking huge. I think the build out of the military is going to be enormous. Like the fact that this is plummeting, it's crazy. It makes no sense whatsoever because the rhetoric's rallying. And people are going to look at this going, hey, we could have a problem. Like you thought you weren't going to have a problem with Russia. Remember when Germany laughed about when they were told like, hey, you're way too reliant on natural gas there. And everyone laughed. And now, it's just a cash machine for Russia to keep doing what they're doing. So I don't know, man. Yep, Jared. So I actually like MU a lot. I am really surprised that MU is even down after what Samsung said. And tonight you have ASML. So I'm super surprised that this stuff's acting the way that it is. And, we'll see what happens here. And that's the best way I can say it. I also like this one too. So I actually think that these names could absolutely rip. I'm surprised that this is down. It really doesn't make any sense to me at all, man. It really doesn't. Like it makes zero sense. Yeah, it is a great day. The arm move was great. And super interesting. I like that chart a lot. What's up, Tariq? Do I really want to be buying these kinds of names here is really my question. Like the answer is I kind of do, but do I really want to be buying expensive software names here? Especially when they're failing over and over again. I see the cup and handle, bro. I get it. I mean, it's there. It's beautiful. It's like, it's perfect. Here's the cup. Here's the breakout, failed, comes back, tests the open, tries, fails, tries again, fails. I see it, but do I really need to try that right now? Like, is that what I have to look at? I think people need to wrap their noodle around that this market could come in pretty hard, way harder than they think it could. Way harder than they think it could. So I really do believe that. I don't think people are getting it yet. Like, I think it's almost a no-brainer that you have to test. And I don't know that you're going to, but I think it's almost a no-brainer. You have to test this low. And the sooner we do it, the better. But we'll see. They're going to try and tighten you up into the open, which I think is the goal, to try to lure people into the market. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm not so, convinced of that. Like, I think that that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to tighten you up into the next 20 minutes here. I just be super careful. You're seeing a lot of this stuff too. Like IREN, they got a really nice upgrade, like really nice. And you went right back. Like, this is what I would watch today. Like, if I'm going to do this, and I'll go through this like super quickly with what's here. Because I do have to jump and get prepped here. Here's what I would do. I would watch 2 levels on all your trades. I'll tell you exactly what I would watch. I would watch your close, your EPM close. I would watch your 4 p.m. And it doesn't matter the name. But from a trading perspective today, I'd watch your 4 p.m. close. Because anybody that you're dealing with right now that just got back to break even, are they going to hold, or are they going to be like, get me out of this market? If they are sitting there going, get me out of this market, well, then you're in a position here where you need to get out of the market, right? That's what they're telling you. If they're going to do it, why aren't you doing it? Right? Like, that's how you should be thinking about today. The other thing that I would watch like a hawk today is the pre and post levels, like on all this stuff, especially these kinds of names, guys. Like anything like MP, you do not want to be taking out these pre-market lows on any of these names. If you do, it's probably game over. And when these things crack, they're going to crack pretty hard. So I would just be aware of that. There goes my Intel short. Couldn't do that yesterday for me, huh? Makes me so sad. So let's keep that in mind. I'm going to just try and go through this really quickly. I'm not going to be able to get to all these names. IDR, I don't know that one. Let's see if we can check it out real quick. Ohio Strategic Reserves. I don't know what they do. I mean, they're on fire. Are they some kind of mineral company? That's interesting. I don't know what I literally don't know anything about them. NVTS I bought yesterday. I thought it was decent news. It looks like it's the news that everybody's waiting for. So I'm not really getting the sense of, yeah, that's great. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like the news came out and then everyone's like, okay, well, that's great. Now what? So I don't know. I'm not really getting that sense of it. We're starting to get a bid. Can't see it, but there's a bid there. No. All right. I like the NVTS news. And minerals, and I'm all about minerals and metals today. RKLB, I would just watch that 70 level. You really keep rejecting it. So I'd watch 70. That's every time we get up there, you're rejecting it, Lynn. So I'd watch that. When I fix my freaking thing, let's just keep going. Good morning from Central Park. Good morning from Miami. KTOS, I think these names are just beginning. And I think you just kind of have to look at this and say to yourself, I own this. I haven't done anything with it. I didn't do anything with it this day. I'm just watching it. I'm up a decent amount in it, and I still have not done anything with it. And, you're starting to get a little weaker now. We're up 100% in the trade. We haven't trimmed the damn thing. I did see this move. It does bother me. And I see that with some of these drone names, and I'm wondering that. But then at the same time, some of these other drone names, they're bouncing. So I don't know. I'm playing it by ear for now, but this KTOS is starting to shape up like starting to turn a little bit of a suck salad, isn't it? Especially here, like watch. But wait, there's more. So if I go here, click off of that, and then go to this, like I really have not had to worry about this thing at all. Like not at all since I started getting involved with it for a little bit. And now I'm starting to get a little goofy up here, and I'm getting that little yellow signal, right? With caution again, danger Will Robinson. So that's becoming an issue. How much of an issue that's going to become, I don't know, man. But, I got a lot here. And if the market comes in, do they just start locking in the year? That's my bigger concern with my winners too. Like I cut a lot of the newer trades that I just put on, like a lot of them the other day. Because I'm like, I just don't want the ag, of dealing with this. And, Bessin's coming out saying everything's great. And John is like, we will rain hellfire on you. Like, well, that doesn't sound good. I don't want that. So I don't know. I'm wondering that too. Like, because usually into the end of the year, and this is more like a more strategic way to look at it, like into the end of the year, nobody wants to sell their winners, like they're big winners because they don't want to pay taxes. And then January, they get smoked. But if people are looking at this, they might just be like, I'll just pay the taxes and extend it out to October or something. I don't know. I worry about me every day. Yeah, I think. What's up, Jeffrey? So LTM. I think any of those kinds of names, bro, can work. Powell's got his work cut out for him today. Pullback range, IDR. I think you just got to wait and go and see from there. What's up, Steven? Good to see you again. Yeah, please like the stream. It helps greatly. Is that one of those rare earth names? You're gonna give me 5 symbols. You're gonna do me dirty like that on a Tuesday. GMTLF. Oh boy. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, man. Maybe. Why not? Sure. Maybe I'm sure the government will buy that one too. Well, I mean, what's crazy, I don't have time to get into it. I don't have time to get into it. KTOS, I like a lot. I don't know if I'm missing some kind of news. I missed a lot of news this morning. I got really annoyed about something. So yeah, you want to sell into the pushes. I do agree with that. LI team, they got into nuclear. Is there SMCI news too? I don't know. They delay their filing again. I actually think all those data center names can go a lot higher because of what's going on. I think people are looking at those data center names wrong. So that's my sense of it. All right, I got to jump, guys. Super late. Trade to win. Make good choices.